InDesign is used when you want to create published materials like books or magazines, brochures, or even posters. And as interior design students, many of you are going to be designing your fair share of display posters. Could even be for a research convention if you're so inclined. So the next few videos, I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on poster making in InDesign, but a lot of the techniques I will show you can still be applied to any InDesign project that you may have. So the first thing I want to do is show you around. If you've watched the Adobe Illustrator interface video, then you're pretty much familiar with the start screen. All Adobe programs open to the start screen, where you can start a new file, or you can open an existing project that you've been working on. So let's go ahead and start a new file by clicking on the blue New File button. The new document window pops up again. Illustrator did this same thing as well. Notice at the top you can choose from a series of templates depending on if your project is for print, for web, or for a mobile device. Over on the right is where you go to customize your artboard details, though I have to say they don't call it an artboard in InDesign, so we're now going to use what they use, and that's the term pages. Because like I said, you can design the layout of every page of a novel if you wanted to. Also notice that the default measurement unit is now called picas. So let's pretend that we're going to design ourselves an 11 by 17 little mini poster for a design project. I'm going to change my unit of measurement from picas to inches. And then I'm also going to make sure that the document that I want to use is set to 17 width and 11 inches in height. Now, if we were designing something that had multiple pages, like a novel or a book, I would update the pages with however many pages my document would have. But since we're doing a single page, because we're just doing a poster, we're just going to keep it at 1, as well as the start number. Now, if I were designing a magazine layout, maybe I'd want to have 2 or 3 columns on my page. But a poster doesn't necessarily need columns to begin with, so we're going to keep the columns at 1 as well. The margins, I'm just going to keep the default. You don't have to. You could change up if you wanted to have certain printing boundaries around the perimeter of your poster, or even if you don't want any borders, like if you want the graphics to go all the way to the edge of your artboard or your page, you can definitely do that, but just understand that not all printers can actually print to the very edge of the paper, so you might end up with borders anyway. But with that being said, I'm just going to keep the default margins, and then I'm just going to go ahead and click Create. Once InDesign opens up the page, our poster artboard, or our page that you can see, has a very similar look to Illustrator. We have a ribbon at the top, full of menus and the option bar. On the left is the toolbar with all the tools that you're going to use. On the right is the panel where, yes, layers also exist. Once again, I'm going to make sure that my workspace is updated to the Essentials Classic, mostly because that's how I was trained in InDesign, and so it's the workspace that I like the best. And you may see all the little areas update as a result of that switch, but relatively they remain the same. So you should see some of the same tools in the toolbar, like the white and black arrows, the text tool, the pen tool, there's the pan hand and the zoom as well. Even the color selection boxes for fill and stroke are there. There's a couple other buttons that are new to you, so I'll be showing you a couple of those in upcoming videos. But just show that as you select different tools to work with, so for instance, if I hit the text button, you'll notice that the ribbon changes up a bit, showing you all the different ways that you can modify what you're working with. Over in the panels, you should see pages, and if you click on pages, it'll just open up. This is kind of like outlining how many pages and what they look like. In your document, we only have 1 page for our poster, but if I had like 10, you would see the pages listed out down below this very first one. Layers, it's pretty much the same as it was in Illustrator, so not a whole lot of new things there. Just be sure to keep up the great habit of naming your layers as you create them. The one thing that is a little bit different is the color and the swatches area. We don't have a nice big swatch menu like Illustrator defaulted with, but we'll make do just fine with what the tools they have. And in the next video, I'll go over some new things concerning text, and then we'll get into shapes and placing images on your page.